Even though Mr. Gonzalo and Miss Laura quarrel with each other in the beginning, after taking a pinch of snuff, both of them become close to each other. Gonzalo offers a pinch of snuff to Laura. After he takes it, Laura happily receives it from Mr. Gonzalo. After taking the snuff, Laura feels that her head is clear now, and Gonzalo endorses what she says. Gonzalo also tells her that even his head is clear after taking the snuff. Laura asks, after taking the snuff, do you sneeze? Then Gonzalo says, every time I take the snuff, I sneeze 3 times. Then Laura agrees with him by saying that, so do I. Even I sneeze 3 times after taking the snuff. And she calls it a coincidence. Mr. Gonzalo, you sneeze 3 times, so do I. I also sneeze 3 times after taking the snuff. So, after taking the snuff, they await the sneezes both anxiously and sneeze alternately, one after another, 3 times each. To begin with, Mr. Gonzalo sneezes, then Laura sneezes, then for the second time, Gonzalo sneezes, then Laura's turn comes. In this way, they sneeze 3 times alternately. And Gonzalo says, after sneezing, I feel better. Laura says, so do I. Even I feel better after taking the snuff. Then she tells herself, that's right, the snuff has made peace between us. Now we are not enemies, we are friends. We have become friends because of the snuff that we have taken. Gonzalo. Uh, Mrs. Laura, will you get angry if I read aloud? Will you excuse me if I read aloud? Laura says, read as loud as possible, as you please. You will not disturb me. I won't feel disturbed even if you read loudly. 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, if the same question had been put to Laura, she would have screamed at him, she would have torn him into pieces, she would have sworn at him. But now, since she is close to him, she tells him, oh my dear, you can read as loud as please, as you please, I won't feel disturbed. So Gonzalo begins reading from a book. He reads some lines from a poem. All love is sad, but sad as it is the best thing that we know. And he says these lines are from a poem written by Campomo. Campomo is a famous Spanish poet. Laura, oh really? Gonzalo continues to read. The daughters or the mothers once I loved, kiss me now as they would kiss an idol. Graven image. What is a graven image? It's an idol of a god that you worship. And Gonzalo reads 2 more lines from the poem. The daughters of the mothers I once loved, now they are pretty old. Today they kiss me as they would kiss an object or a graven image. Not a man who is alive, man who is living. They would kiss me as they would kiss an object, an idol. Graven image is idol which we worship. Then he says, after reading these 2 lines, he tells her those lines are taken in a humorous vein. Mrs. Laura, I consider these 2 lines as very, very funny, very, very humorous. Those lines are in a humorous vein tone. Laura, laughing, she says, so do I. Even I consider these lines as humorous. So they agree with each other even in this respect. Laura, laughing, I take them so. I too consider them as humorous. Gonzalo tells her, there are some more beautiful poems in this book here. I'll read one more poem. 20 years pass, he returns. Then Laura tells him, He has read just one line, then she interrupts him by telling him that, oh, you can't imagine how I feel affected when you read with all those glasses. Oh, Mr. Gonzalo, I feel very bad. You won't understand how bad I feel when I see you reading with such enormous glasses. Mr. Gonzalo is wearing a huge pair of glasses, and Laura finds it very funny. And Laura tells him, I feel bad when I see you struggling to read with those glasses. Then Gonzalo asks her, why do you make fun of me? Can you read without glasses? You're making fun of me because I read with huge glasses. Let me ask you one question. You look as old as I am. Can you read without any glasses? Laura, definitely I can read without any glasses. Gonzalo, at your age, come on, you are jesting. Jesting here, joking, kidding. You are jesting. No, you're not serious. You are not telling the truth. You're kidding. Laura, should I prove that? Do you want to see me reading without glasses? Okay, pass me the book. Give me the book then. Takes the book and she starts reading it aloud. 20 years pass, he returns, and each, looking at the other, exclaims, can it be that this is he? Oh God heavens, is it she? 20 years pass, he returns, and each beholding the other exclaims, can it be that this is he? Heavens, is it she? So this is about the reunion of two friends, two lovers. Laura returns a book to Don Gonzalo because she has proved that she can read from the book without glasses. Gonzalo, indeed, I feel jealous. I feel jealous of your eyesight, sharp eyesight at your age. You can read without wearing glasses. I envy you, your wonderful sight. I feel jealous of you because you have got such a sharp eyesight. Then Laura tells herself, which cannot be heard by Gonzalo, I can read without glasses because I know every word by heart. Here comes a secret. The secret comes out here. How does Laura read the poem without glasses? She can do it because she knows the poem by heart. So actually she is not reading from the book. She is reading from her memory. She is reciting the poem from her memory. Gonzalo, I'm very fond of good poems, verses poems. Very fond, I even composed some in my youth. Gonzalo tells Laura, when I was very young, I used to like good poems. I was very fond of that. I even wrote some when I was young in my youth. Laura, did you write good poems, good ones? All kinds. I wrote poems of all kinds. I was a great friend of Esperanza, Zorilla, Becker, and others. I first met Zorilla in America. So these are the names of very, very famous Spanish poets. Esperanza, Zorilla, Becker, and others. And he also tells her that I first met Zorilla in America. So I was very close to these great poets. Laura, why? You're saying that you met Zorilla in America? You've been in America? Were you in America? Gonzalo, come on. I have been to America so many times. The first time I went to America, I was a small child. I was only 6 years old. Then Laura makes fun of him, pulls his leg by saying that, oh, you must have gone with Columbus in one of his caravels. Caravels here, ships. Oh, you must have gone with Columbus. Christopher Columbus, the 15th century Italian navigator who discovered America while looking for a route to China. Columbus, a very, very famous navigator, and he traveled all over the world on a ship, and he lived in 15th century. So Laura laughs at Gonzalo by saying that, oh, you say you went to America when you were very young, when you were only 6 years old. I feel that you must have gone to America with Columbus nearly 300 years ago. Just she's pulling his legs. Gonzalo laughs hearing this joke. Come on, don't make fun of me like that. It's not so bad as that. I am old, I admit, but I didn't know Ferdinand and Isabella. And moreover, I should agree, I'm old, I admit, I agree, but I didn't know Ferdinand and Isabella. Who are Ferdinand and Isabella? The king and the queen of Spain. And this king and the queen sponsored Columbus's voyages around the world. So Columbus lived during the regime of Ferdinand, the king. So he is telling her quite humorously that I'm old, no doubt, but I didn't know Ferdinand and Isabella to have my tour travel sponsored by them. They both laugh. I was so great friend of Campomo, a Spanish poet. I met him Valencia. Valencia is a city in Spain. I'm a native of that city. I was very close to Campomo. I met him Valencia and I am from that city. I belong to that city. So I have met him so many times. You are from Valencia? Gonzalo. Yes, I was brought up there and there I spent my early youth. Have you ever visited that city? Laura. Yes, mister. No, mister. Not far from Valencia, there was a villa. Not far from Valencia, there was a house which, if still there, I don't know whether it's still there, and that retained so many memories. I have so many memories of that villa, and even today I cherish the beautiful, the sweet memories of that villa, my life in that city. I spent several seasons there. It was many years ago. It was near the sea, hidden away among lemon and orange trees. The house was close to the sea, and the house was hidden away among lemon and orange trees. They call it, let me see what they call it. They call it Maricela. Gonzalo, startled, shocked. Maricela? Laura, Maricela. Do you know that name? Have you heard of the name? Is the name familiar to you? Gonzalo, is very familiar if my memory serves me right. For we forget as we grow old. They lived in that villa, was the most beautiful woman I have ever seen. I assure you, I have seen many. Let me see. What is her name? Laura Iorante. Then Gonzalo, hearing the word Marcella, he feels startled, surprised, and he says, I was familiar with that. If my memory serves me right, if I remember it correctly, for we forget as we grow, when we grow old, we forget so many things. But still, I remember that they lived in that villa, the most beautiful woman I have ever seen. And I assure you, I have seen many women, but she was the most beautiful. Let me see. Okay, let me try to remember what was her name. Yeah, she was Laura Llorent. Laura. Startled. Now she feels startled now. Laura Llorent. Gonzalo. Yes, they look at each other eagerly, intently. Laura recovering herself from the shock. Nothing. You reminded me of my best friend. Gonzalo says, how strange. Laura. It is strange. She was called the Silver Maiden. The lady who lived in the villa was called the Silver Maiden. Gonzalo. Yeah, precisely. I know the Silver Maiden. By that name, she was known in the locality. I came to see her as she were before me now at the window with the red roses. Do you remember that window? Even today, that memory is fresh. That is fresh in my mind. That sight, that scene is fresh in my mind. I seem to see her as if she were standing before me now at the window carrying red roses. Do you remember that window, Laura? Yes, I remember. It was the window of the room of her room. Gonzalo. She spent many hours in my day. Laura, sighing, taking a deep breath, and in mine too. Gonzalo. She was ideal, perfect, fair as a lily flower. She was very beautiful to look at, fair as a lily. She had jet black hair and black eyes with an uncommonly sweet expression. She seemed to cast, spread a radiance, brightness wherever she went. So, what kind of a lady she was? She was ideal, she was very fair, just like a lily. She had jet pure black hair with black eyes with a strange sweet expression. Her figure was beautiful, perfect. What forms of sovereign beauty God models in human clay? She was a dream. Now he wonders how God creates such beautiful women, such beautiful beings in human clay. She was a model created in human clay. She was a dream. Laura tells Gonzalo, oh, if you knew that the dream was now by your side. Now Laura has understood that Gonzalo is talking about her. It was she who lived in the last so many years ago, but she can't tell him that. So she tells herself, oh God, if he knew that the dream is sitting by his side, you would realize that dreams come true. Look at that. Your dreams have come true because I'm sitting next to you. Loudly. She was very unfortunate and had a sad love affair. Then she tells him that that lady, beautiful lady, fell in love with somebody and that was sad love affair. Gonzalo, yeah, very sad. They look at each other. Laura, did you hear of the love story? Yes. The ways of God, divinity, are very strange. Then she tells herself, oh Gonzalo, the gallant lover, in the same affair, the courageous, adventurous lover, in the same affair. Laura, and do you remember the fight? Precisely, very much. The duel. The gallant lover was my cousin of whom I was very fond. Now he tells her that the gallant lover was his cousin and he was very fond of him. Laura, oh yes, a cousin. My friend told me in one of her letters the story of that affair, which is truly romantic. Your cousin, passed by on the horseback every morning down the rose path under her window and tossed up to her balcony a bouquet of flowers which she caught. My friend told me in one of her letters the love story of that affair, which was truly romantic. He, the cousin, passed by on horseback every morning down the rose path under her window. She would be standing on the top of the window, looking down at him. Then he would throw up to a balcony a bouquet of flowers, and she would always catch it. Gonzalo. And later in the afternoon, the gentleman, he would come on his horse. He would return by the same path and catch the bouquet of flowers she would be throwing to him. Am I right? In the morning he would toss it up, and in the afternoon when he comes back taking the same route, she would be waiting to throw the bouquet down to him. Am I right, Laura? Yes, they wanted to marry her to a merchant whom she would not have. Gonzalo. And one night, when my cousin waited under her window to hear her sing, this other person presented himself unexpectedly and he insulted your cousin. You remember? Yes, I know. There was a quarrel between my cousin and this merchant. Later, there was a fight duel. Remember? Yes, at the sunrise on the beach, The merchant was badly wounded. My cousin had to conceal himself for a few days, and he had to flee the city, run away from the city after that.